Welcome back to the Vault. Today's video is an interview between Jessica Suarez Vargas, who is responsible for the records management of Jeremy Dewitte's requests, and Sergeant Justin Wall from the Professional Standards Division. This interview takes place on June 30th, 2021. This interview is interesting to me because there's an employee of the Orange County Sheriff's Office that is singled out to handle all of the Dewitte FOIA requests. There must be requests coming out of her ears to have a dedicated employee handling only Metro State and Jeremy Dewitte requests. Now don't forget to like the video, comment down below, share, and subscribe. Don't forget, Motor 1 is rolling.
I'm Sergeant Justin Wall of the Orange County Sheriff's Office Professional Standards Section. Today's date is June 30th, 2021, and the current time is 10:49 a.m. This interview is being conducted at the Office of Professional Standards located at 2500 West Colonial Drive. I'm interviewing. Can you state your name and your position?
Jessica Suarez Vargas, Assistant Records Custodian.
Okay. And also present in the room is Sergeant Melissa Harrelson of the Professional Standards Section. Ma'am, are you aware that I'm recording this interview?
Yes.
Has anyone threatened, coerced, or offered you any preferential treatment to give this statement?
No.
Are you under the influence of drugs or alcohol that may impair your testimony?
No.
Can you raise your hand so I can put you under oath? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you have to provide will be true and correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so it's come to my attention that you may have some information regarding an investigation that I'm working regarding Corporal Ramsey, and it was brought to my attention that you had contact with a Mr. Constantine as part of your official duties over in records. Can you kind of just describe to me how that started and what took place?
Yes. So I received a public records request, I believe it was June the 7th. When I came in, it was just on my desk, one of the little papers that was filled out by the front counter supervisor, Sonia Rutherford. And she just came over and just made sure I received it. She said that he came to the counter. It was about Dewitte. I pretty much handle all of the Dewitte requests. So they know to direct that stuff to me. So I told her, okay, that's fine, I'll deal with it. But I'm obviously dealing with all of my other requests. So I hadn't contacted him. And then she had received a voicemail from him on, I believe, 6/16. And she said, oh, he had left her a message. He wanted to know the status of the request. Because she told him it was going to be passed on to somebody else. So then I told her, that's fine, I'll call him. So I called him that morning. I left him a voicemail. And then right before I was going to lunch, I had checked my voicemail, and I had a message from him and a couple other people. But I said, that's fine, I'll call him back when I come back from lunch, because I go at 1 normally. And when I came back, he had left me 2 additional voicemails. So I called him right back, like at 2:49. I left him, and it went straight to voicemail. So I left him a message. I said, please call me back. And that was on Wednesday the 16th. So then I work Monday through Thursday. So then Monday, when I came in, I let my supervisor know that he hadn't called me back. I said, I'll go ahead and give him another call. And so I called him that morning on the 21st, and I left him a voicemail at 9:41 a.m. And I told him I haven't heard from you. And so he calls me back later on that morning, and he was upset. And he had already told Sonia, he mentioned in the voicemail something about Ramsey. We needed to contact Ramsey, that he was working with Ramsey. So I didn't understand. So I said, fine. So I contacted.
When you're saying he, you're talking about
Mr. Constantini. I'm sorry. So when I was talking to him, he said, I need you to contact John Ramsey, and he said he's working on this case with me. And I said, okay, you put a request in that you wanted all the reports for Jeremy Dewitte. I said that, and I said, we don't contact the deputies or anything like that to get information. We just run our normal requests, through our database, and then we'll pull up what you're looking for. And he said, no, he started getting upset, and he didn't understand why I wouldn't contact Ramsey. And I said, sir, so I even called Jennifer over to my cubicle, because I said, he's getting upset, I don't know. And he even told me he had to put me on hold because I have to take my heart medication because, he was upset. And I said, okay. And I told him, listen, I was like, do you have a case number? And he said, I don't have a case number. But I don't know if it's because he was just upset. And then I said, okay. And I said, well, what's the address that the deputy would have come out to? So I'm trying to run a calls for service, and I found one case number. He's like, and I started to read it to him. I said, is it reference to these vehicles? And he said, no. And he's like, you're wrong. And I said, okay. I said, you said you don't have a case number. And then he gives me a case number. So I ran the case number, and there's nothing in ARS.
Was that case number 19-113657?
Yes.
Okay.
So there was no report popping up that was generated in ARS. So then I run it in incident, and I see, okay, it's a valid case number. I ran the CAD. So Jennifer's there with me. I said, this is a case number, but there's nothing in there. There's nothing in on base. So I told her, I don't know what to do with this. So I just told him, okay, I already had him on hold. So I got back on the phone with him. I said, okay, Mr. Constantini, I was like, your case number is valid. I said, but unfortunately, there's not a report. I was like, I'm going to have to go ahead and email Ramsey now and find out what's going on with this. And I said, so I can get you some type of help, resolution. So then he said, well, when are you going to call me back? Because he was already upset. And then I said, I don't know. And then he started to say something about, if I pay your, I'm sorry, sometimes the public, they'll say, things to us about since we're county employees and something to that nature.
So then, what you emailed Corporal Ramsey?
Yes.
Okay, so then, you provided me a copy of an email that you sent on June 21st at 1 o'clock to Corporal Ramsey, advising that there was no report in ARS and just kind of inquiring what the deal was.
Right.
So did you get anything back from Corporal Ramsey?
I went to lunch right after that, and then he was calling me. I was at my lunch. I didn't know who was calling me on my desk phone, but I was finishing my lunch, and then I got the voicemail. The email. So then I said, okay, let me go ahead and call him. So I called him right back.
An email requesting him to call you?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry. And so I called him back, and he started explaining to me that he had dealt with Mr. Constantini. He was trying to help him, and he was kind of explaining to me that Dewitte had, taken some money from him. He owed him money, something about vehicles, and that, that's why he's so upset. And he had tried to help him, but this was close to his deadline that they were given to stand down on the whole, Dewitte Metro State investigation, which so he said that they hadn't received all of the documentation. That's why he wasn't able to continue and go ahead and write up the report. And he said that he had interviews that he had done with him, and I believe it was multiple or more than one. And he said he had videos, that there was Dewitte was on tape apparently doing the deal with the gentleman, because with Mr. Constantini, because he was pretty much lying about it, is what Mr. Constantini and Ramsey were saying.
Okay.
So he said that he could go ahead and gather the information for me and get it to me, and I said, well, let me talk to Jennifer, my supervisor, because I need to know what I'm supposed to do with that documentation after the fact, because obviously I need to provide him some type of report, and I can't just give him these interviews and stuff. It's not even associated with the report. So that's pretty much from that point. I just went and spoke to Jennifer, and I told her what was going on, and she said, well, there's no report. She already knew that there was no report, but I told her, this is what he's telling me. He's just going to forward me this stuff. And when I was telling him I was going to talk to her, he's like, well, let me know. If not, then
Okay. Did he indicate that he was going to write a report at that time?
No.
Okay. And so then what did you and Jennifer do?
When I told her he wanted to send it, she said the information to me. She said, no, she's like, we need to go upstairs.
What information was he going to send you?
The interviews. I know he said it was interviews, and he had some documentation too. I didn't know, he didn't specify what the documents were.
Okay.
But I know he said he had interviews with Mr. Constantini, and videos.
Okay.
That were associated.
But he didn't indicate he was going to complete a actual incident report.
No.
Okay. All right. And so then, what'd you do with that?
So I pretty much, Jennifer and I, she said we need to go upstairs, and she wanted to go talk to Sergeant Bell to kind of get his, his intake on it, like what if they would have even.
Sergeant Rob Bell, economics.
Yes. Okay. So, because I believe we had even, addressed it or just mentioned it, what was going on to our director, Nakia. And so we went upstairs, and she pretty much, started explaining, and then I explained, pretty much what I knew, just going by what Mr. Constantini said, and then what Ramsey told me. It was some type of fraud, fraudulent money thing going on with vehicles and stuff. And Ramsey did tell me that, that OPD was, Jeremy Dewitte had supposedly went to OPD and made a report trying to cause issues for Mr. Constantini, saying that he repossessed the vehicles wrongfully or something like that. And so that's why I told Sergeant Bell, I just know what they told me on these phone calls. Right. I don't have anything documented like that. I can read in black and white, so I can just go by.
Did he make a suggestion?
He said he was going to make a phone call, but he said that a report needed to be done.
Okay.
And so I know he said he was going to make a phone call, and he ended up calling Jennifer back, or I'm not sure if he called her or emailed her, but I know there's a suggestion to reach out to him the next day, to reach out to Ramsey, to do an email to Ramsey.
Okay. And it looks like that was when that this was all brought to our attention, that a report that do you know when the case number was pulled? It was safe to say it's 2019.
Yes, it was. I'm sorry, I think I have.
Is that how you found it?
Yes, I found. Yeah, because Mr. Constantini gave me the case number. It was pulled 12/20/2019.
And is it attached to a CAD call there?
Yes, the call number is 19-354-0783.
And who's on that call?
It just shows John Ramsey.
And he's the only one?
Yes.
Okay. And it shows he pulled the case number?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Does it say how he closed it?
It says RWA. Okay. And that was one of the things that we talked about over with Nakia and Jennifer. I said he pulled an RWA case number. There's no report.
Which is a report with the rest?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And how long have you been working in records?
20 years.
Okay. Is it common, is it common that a case from a year and a half ago, I guess, that you would go in there and look, once you're given a case number and you go in there and look and see that there's no report?
No, that's not common.
Okay. And what were your thoughts when you saw that?
This is an issue because, obviously it wouldn't have been brought to our attention if Mr. Constantini didn't contact us. And in all honesty, if he's having issues now after the fact with OPD, this kind of could have been alleviated if there was documentation showing that he was fraudulent, there was some type of fraud going on with Dewitte. It's unfortunate.
Have you had any other communication with Corporal Ramsey beyond what you described?
I have not, yeah, because he told me if when I told him I was going to talk to Jennifer, well, let me know if you don't need the stuff for him to gather the documentation. So I didn't talk to him after that.
Okay, and that did that conclude your involvement?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any knowledge now whether he completed that report?
He did. Jennifer forwarded me an email, and Mr. Constantini picked it up on Monday. I called him and let him know that I did have the report. I told him it wasn't assigned to anybody at the moment, but once it was, I would keep checking it and, get that, send an email to that detective so they can contact him, because he wanted, the videos. I told him I can't give you that right now. It's still an open case right now. I can give you the report. So that's all I gave him. I left it for the front counter for him to pick up, and he picked it up Monday.
Okay. Okay. Is there anything else that you know about this investigation you'd like to add?
No.
Okay. The current time is
11:02.
11:02, and that concludes this interview.